Hey, D, what's a good word?
We're fucked. 52 in the waiting room, and it's not even 7.
We've got some new faces with us today. Hi, come on over.
I'm so happy to be here.
Talk to me at the end of the day.
Clear.
Forceps.
Full suction. Med student down.
Welcome to the pit. Let's go save some lives.
Introducing an xWhyz mini pop culture pulse featuring BDC. In this episode, he discusses The Pitt, the hit show on HBO Max, GTA 6 and the potential $100 game price, and this summer's crowded blockbuster season. Hey everyone, BDC here. I'm just here to take lead on Pop Culture Pulse this week, where we'll discuss the previous week's pop culture events and the current entertainment landscape. I'm really excited about these little pop culture minis. Please, if you have any topics that you'd like us to talk about, please send them in the discussion boards, email us. It's cool. We'll definitely consider it. Jordo is out. He's out touring the world, enjoying life, and he'll be back with us very soon for our xWhyz episodes. The first thing I want to talk about on this show is the new show called The Pitt on Max. Just know that there is a huge positive critic and viewer reception for The Pitt, and I just recently saw it last week, and I watched every episode that was available. And I want to introduce to you why I think it's amazing, and I think you should try and watch it too. We just got to, I believe, episode 7, if I remember right. And the cool thing about this show, first of all, it stars Noah Wyle, from ER fame. He's also the executive producer. Fantastic acting in the show from the entire ensemble. So the show takes place in an emergency room in Pittsburgh. Each season has 15 episodes, and each episode represents an hour of that shift. Isn't that crazy? It's almost like 24, Jack Bauer, and each hour represents that day. This one seems a little more realistic with the whole 15-hour shift, because a lot can happen in an emergency room, especially a big city emergency room. Critics love it. It's because of the amazing writing. The editing is fantastic. Not once do you feel like you're bored, and it keeps you feeling anxious about the next thing that's going to come through those doors. I am so mesmerized and entertained by it. And from what I've read and from medical professionals that I've spoken to, they claim that this show is the most medically accurate and realistic in terms of its portrayal of the daily job. So the things they talk about, like the social issues, the issues with administrations, how they have to perform these tasks with limited funding, which definitely is a detriment to the quality of work that they can do. And then the pressures of corporations trying to maximize the profit of a hospital. These are all great. So, I watched it with a medical professional. She's a nurse practitioner, and she was able to identify everything that they were talking about. And what's great is they spoke in the lingo of the medical world, but there's always a character on the side to help us normal people understand what's going on. So that's one thing I really do love about it. Viewer reception is huge. There's so many fun characters on the show. Noah Wyle plays the doctor who leads a bunch of residents who are young doctors trying to earn their residency at this hospital. Super cool, lots of learning, and the fact that they have all these young resident doctors, that puts us in their shoes so that we can further learn more about their experiences and see things for the first time as it happens. I recommend it. There's, I think, 7 episodes in out of 15. If you have Max, please watch that show. As of right now, I'm giving that a BDC xYz rating of an easy 9 out of 10. And it could be a 10 out of 10 depending how it finishes this year. So that's that. If you love this show, please comment on the podcast. I'm trying to get Jordo to watch it. I'm texting him. Hopefully we'll get him to see a few episodes. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is all the rumors that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out this year on the present consoles. And the entire industry is really worried about the potential $100 price point it may release at. And I think that's a lot of money for a game. But games right now, on average, is $69.99, and that's without any additional features. And I've been a gamer since I was a kid. You know, I had the first Atari. I had an Atari 2600, and then I migrated to the Nintendo NES 8-bit system, followed into Super Nintendo, the SNES, all the Nintendo systems. I've had all of them. And right now I'm in this generation where I have a PS5 and an Xbox Series X. I love video games. I understand that $100 price point to the industry doesn't seem like much if you consider the developmental costs of most video games nowadays, because developing a video game nowadays is creating or developing a blockbuster motion picture with the amount of dollars that are pumped into it. And so like I remember when I was 10 in the 90s, that games for the NES and the SNES were around $50 to $60, and they were cartridge based. And I remember I would only get maybe 1 or 2 games a year because of that price point. And we're looking at current gen titles, which cost way more to develop. And most of them now don't even have physical versions because of the digital market. Our current gen is looking at $70 as the agreed upon price point. So the market sees that as their equilibrium. The price hikes I can understand because development costs, but it was always understood between the consumer and the developers or the software and console manufacturers that, yeah, when they release the consoles, they're going to take the loss initially. Like they hope that within time, the cost of the technology goes down, thus making the production cost of making the consoles cheaper as time moves on within usually like a 10-year window for a console generation. I don't know. The market seems pretty crazy, and the unfortunate and fortunate thing, I know that $100 price tag for Grand Theft Auto 6 doesn't seem much to me and most gamers because they've been waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 for over 10 years now. They've been milking that Grand Theft Auto 5, GTA Online for 10 years. I bought GTA 5 maybe 3 or 4 times. Once on PC, one on 360. Then I had to buy it again on the PS4. And then I bought the remastered on PS5. And, you know, that it's a game that just keeps being re-released. And it went through essentially 3 console generations. Because I think GTA 6 is one of those games or one of those generational games that has the right to charge us $100. I think I'd probably still pay $120 for GTA 6 just because of its pop culture impact. And I heard a rumor that they were going to say, oh, it's $100 because $70 is the base game for the story, the single player campaign, and $30 will represent the GTA Online part of it. So I guess that would be okay. If people can choose what they want to buy, if they want to buy it separately, they can just buy the online version, because I know people who've never played the campaign and the story at all. They just went online and they loved spending fake money or spending real money to have fake money in a virtual world and live like a baller or a gangster, whatever they want to do. So I don't know. I think it's a good price point. I've had so much fun on online. I've also had so much fun with the campaign. And I think the $100 price point for GTA is not going to be a market changer. I think it's just going to be specific to Grand Theft Auto 6. And I do know that they should creep up in price overall. And I think developers are trying to figure out additional content to make that price point a little more worthwhile. Are you planning on buying Grand Theft Auto 6 this year for $100? Would you pay $150 for it? How about $300? On to the next topic. I just want to quickly bring up the fact that this summer is looking to be an amazing blockbuster theater summer. Okay, we have Fantastic Four, which we talked about in our previous episode, and then we have the newest iteration of Jurassic World with Scarlett Johansson in it, and then we have Superman. With it being crowded, do you plan on seeing all three? I know a lot of these superhero films and science fiction fantasy films really require reviewing or rewatching by its fans to build up their box office gross. If Superman does well, will people watch Superman and then the following week go and watch Fantastic Four? Or will they watch Superman one week and then make Superman and Fantastic Four a date night? How Barbie and Oppenheimer came together and made Barbenheimer, etc. We'll see. And I'm just happy that there is a crowded slate for this summer. I really do enjoy films at the theater, and I know it's dying out because TVs at home are getting much bigger and people have access to 4K and surround sound systems at home, but simply going somewhere different than your house is always kind of a nice thing. And paying overpriced popcorn is fun, and getting the largest Coke Zero you could drink in the history of man, great experiences. One thing we need to look into is, what are the implications for the industry? Will these movies cannibalize each other's audience? Because all three of those major films seem to cater to the same type of nerd culture, comic book, Marvel, DC, science fiction fans, right? So it's a matter of, are they going to be good enough that people will still see Superman again, even though Fantastic Four releases in the same week, right? Like the second week of Superman, people are still going to consider to watch it that following weekend. It's about like with Star Wars films, and I mean this in the most respectful way, but like the Star Wars mega fans, nerd culture, they really do bring in box office numbers by the repeat viewings of the same film, right? And the pre-show viewing. So they'll come in on the Wednesdays and Thursdays and then come back on the weekend. They'll watch it for the second or third time. That is how that works. Another thing is to think about, are these films broad enough to invite the casual fans of these films? So will they bring in casual fans for Superman? Like, Superman is a immediate and identifiable superhero for most people, for the average moviegoer. Yeah, I know Superman, the guy with the S on his chest. And then you have the Fantastic Four. Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember Mr. Fantastic. Isn't he the guy with the stretchy arms? And didn't he marry like an invisible woman or something? And then you have Jurassic World, where every kid loves dinosaurs. Every person loves to be endangered by wild animals trying to kill them. They're just so entertained by that. So I wonder what's going to turn out, and I'll try to bring this topic up with Jordo and see what he thinks. What are some of your personal thoughts? What are you most excited for, and what do you think will stand out in this crowded field? Hey, quick little podcast mini for you all. So that ends our Pop Culture Pulse featuring BDC. See you later.